Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey.
Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Ooh-wee, he is back. Senator John Fetterman, Senator Hoodie. Yes, indeed, he has his hoodie on right now as we speak. And he is hotter than fish grease with his own party. And he said he's had enough of his party, you know, and he says his party has gone far left and that his party is a part of the problem. And he says, I'm admitting this live on television, but whatever comes with it, I could face. If they want to kick me out of the party, so be it. And hey, here we are. He just posted 3 hours ago. Again, he's hotter than fish grease with this whole government shutdown as he has voted to keep the government open. But his party says it's leverage. Providing Max Payne is their leverage. We need 60 votes. All 53 Republicans voted yes. The Democrats vote no. But John Fetterman says our workers are forced now to get a loan just to get by. As a Democrat, the stalemate doesn't feel like support for working families to me. End the shutdown or own the fallout. He posted this 3 hours ago. And he posted the picture of Axios. This headline, federal workers take out $328 million in bank loans amid shutdown. Oh boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. And just a couple of hours ago, he posted, as a committed Democrat, I'm dismayed my party is playing chicken with the food security of 42 million Americans. I reject a political gamble that exposes a vulnerable constituency to widespread deprivation and chaos. Oh boy. Just can't make this up. And then he also says, again, walking to work, I witnessed wild central kitchen feeding federal workers in front of the Department of Transportation. Absurd. It's come to this when our government should be open. Pay everyone for their hard work. Feed everyone. Open the government. Country over party. Yeah, check that out. Oh boy. And day before yesterday, he posted, most Americans will find it incredibly difficult to work for 5 weeks without a paycheck. This shutdown is a choice. Let's end this and pay our workers and vote that shows principle over political party. And with that, Fetterman posted the Fox News headline and article of Chuck Schumer. Federal workers brace for missed paychecks as shutdown enters fifth week. The Schumer shutdown. Boy, oh boy, you just can't make this up, man. And then he also posted this as well. And says it's firmly on the right side of this and we should absolutely listen. Our service members, federal workers, and Capitol Police are hurting. It's one of many reasons why I've continuously voted to open our government. We need to end this chaos. Yeah. And it seems like every day, Senator John Fetterman is coming out against his party, saying it should be country over party, that we should open up the government. As he continues to vote to open up the government. You just can't make this up. You know, we just seen this a couple of days ago.
Here we are in Washington, D.C., and it is shut down.
But now here, it's both Pennsylvania's voice here in the U.S. Senate, even though we are in a different party. And we both want to talk about why we believe it's so important to reopen this government.
23 days, 12 votes. Senator Fetterman and I have both voted to open up the government. We agree on that 100%. It's really starting to hurt Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvanians, air traffic controllers, border patrol, and also 2 million recipients of SNAP. We've got to get the government open. That's our main responsibility. And I'd say that regardless of what party's in the majority.
So I think we both, our votes are about country over party at this point. And now we have 2 million Pennsylvanians that rely on SNAP. That's gonna stop. And now you can now reopen this government and have an earnest conversation about extending those tax credits. We know we're gonna participate in this process. That's why we both vote to open up our government. We're in a different party. We're on the same team for Pennsylvania and our nation.
Pennsylvanians expect it.
And the reason Fetterman made those back-to-back posts a couple of hours ago was because, once again, the Democrat Party voted for the 13th time, no on reopening up the government. And oh boy, you just can't make it up, man. Just can't. But he says, shut our government down and America loses. 2 million Pennsylvanians depend on SNAP to feed their families. For me, it's hungry Americans over party. Paying our military over party. Paying Capitol Police and federal workers over party. I choose country over party.
Hi, here we are in our government.
And again, this is a viral video still, with millions and millions of clicks, thousands and thousands of reshares and likes.
Remains closed, and I think that's failure. And I'm the guy that's going to consistently vote for country over party. I'm always going to vote for paying our military over the party. I'm always going to vote for paying the Capitol Police over my party. And I'm going to continue to fight for the 2 million Pennsylvanians that depend on SNAP to feed themselves. And I'm also going to fight for the same 400,020 Pennsylvanians that depend on those tax credits to make health insurance more affordable. Two things are true, and now we can fight for all of them as long as our government is open. My vote is going to remain firmly on keeping our government open, and I'm going to continue to fight for all of those Pennsylvanians that I'm honored to represent here.
Got that hoodie on, don't he? He got that hoodie on, man. Oh boy.
Well, really the party's going to go its own way, but I've been going my way. I'm going to fight for wins in Pennsylvania, and there's issues that I will agree and align with on the Republican side, specifically like Israel, and I celebrated those great peace deal, and I also really very strong that we have to secure our border, and I was the co-sponsor of the Lakin bill as well. And right now, I'm in a minority that I think it's wrong to shut our government down in this situation right now. And now, so for me, and there's things that I strongly believe in too on the Democratic side, but I'm always going to vote country over party. I'm always going to vote for paying for the military over my party and those things, because I think that's what's appropriate right now. The direction where my party's going, I mean, won't see. But I can control my vote and my voice, and that's exactly where I am. And I'm going to call balls and strikes. And it's an easy choice to pick my country over the party, especially in circumstances like this.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Just can't make it up. But Fetterman to Democrats. Stop calling Trump an autocrat. Don't force a government shutdown. Accept Trump's help on crime. Stand with Israel against Islamic. Mandami doesn't reflect our party.
Never going to change my party.
On CNN.
But clearly, we've lost the argument, and right now, I think it's entirely appropriate to really be honest and just figure out why exactly have we effectively lost 2 out of the last 3 cycles, and a lot of the things we've really kind of really lost our connection with American voters in ways. And I think we can't just be, well, Trump is always wrong, or that we're going to set the country on fire or whatever. That's just not true either, of course. But, when I represent a state like Pennsylvania, that keeps you honest. And you always can't forget that a lot of Americans happen to disagree with you. That does not mean that they are fascists or now they want to shred the Constitution.
But when you hear some Democrats saying Trump is acting like an autocrat.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. If you actually compare him to an actual autocrat, that is not just that. Now, last night, for example, people were complaining. They were protesting about, oh, that's the Hitler thing. You just don't ever compare anyone to Hitler and those kinds of extreme things. And now look what happened to Charlie Kirk. I mean, the man was shot. Now we have to turn the temperature down. It's like we can't compare people to these kinds of figures in history. And this is not an autocrat. This is a product of a democratic election.
So you don't think that Trump is at all shattering any of the norms of democracy in any way?
I'm saying he's definitely different, but that's what America voted for. Again, I don't agree with many of these things, but that does not make him an autocrat.
But one of the things that I hear from Democrats a lot saying a reason why voters may not like Democrats is because they don't fight hard enough. Democrats should be fighting harder. What do you say to folks who say that?
What exactly is fighting? What is fighting? Delay more votes, or just vote every no on everything, or saying, well, if they're doing X, well, then that means it's wrong, that kind of a thing. It's like, what exactly is fighting?
I'll give you an example. It could be shutting the government down. Like some Democrats say, if this happens, it'll be Trump's fault.
That's not fighting. That's mutilating our nation. If you vote to shut our government down, you are going to harm millions of Americans. And why would you do this? Where's our leverage? It was wrong. It was wrong for the Republicans to do that. Absolutely, that's true. It was wrong for the Republicans to do that. It would just be wrong for us for those things.
Bigger picture, has your party shifted or have you shifted ideologically?
My party is acting in a way they have forgotten. They have forgotten one of the reasons why we lost in 2024. Some of the most extreme things were weaponized against that. And now some people think now we have to double down on those things, or we must become more progressive or more extreme. That's absolutely not true. The 7 or 8 states that are going to determine who's going to be the next president, we have to win in those states. And I understand what that takes. And a lot of these ideas that are now putting back and being reintroduced are not going to carry, Pennsylvania.
Speaking of which, you're talking about what's happening in New York. Zoran Mamdani, Democratic Socialist. He is the Democratic nominee. And polls do say that he is ahead by a significant margin in that race. I mean, is this where your party is headed, and is it a wake-up call to Democrats like yourself?
I don't believe that. New York City is not reflective of our national political things. Certainly the states are going to determine who's going to be the next president. So I don't take any kinds of lessons or anything from that election.
Trump is threatening to send the National Guard into a number of these blue cities, blue states. We're seeing Democratic mayors in Chicago and in Baltimore resist additional federal help. Is that a good idea to fight Trump on this?
No, what I'll say is, like, I experienced that, it's like I live in Navy Yard. I would walk to work and I would see a lot of National Guard people. It honestly wasn't a big deal. They were friendly. They were standing around. And this wasn't like there was Russian army people. This was, it's our sons, our daughters, our fathers, our mothers kind of a thing. If you actually experience it on the ground, it's really not like it's not occupied city or anything. So for me, when I was a mayor, I was a small town mayor. I asked for help. I asked for help to confront gun violence and crime. If I was a mayor and I had a significant kinds of violence situation, I would be happy to get help. Honestly, for that.
Should they ask for help?
I've done that.
And do you think they should too? Like Chicago, Baltimore, and the like, they should accept it.
All I'm saying that it's like when 600 people are killed in Chicago once every year, roughly, I think it's entirely appropriate.
Are you comfortable with the way these ICE raids have been carried out in some of these cities?
Not entirely. No. I believe we should have a secure border. And I absolutely believe you should round up all of the criminals. And then I do think you should deport those. But I don't think it's really helpful to raid a factory and round up all of them and deport them. I don't think it's appropriate to go to like a slaughterhouse in Nebraska and round them up and deport them things. That's not true either. I don't think America really supports those things. I think two things must be true. A secure border, round up all the criminals, but we don't and shouldn't target otherwise hardworking migrants that are just effectively making a significant contribution to our economy.
I wonder politically, you talk about what happened and Democrats may not have learned the lessons from the last election. Do you think issues of crime...
Like the border, for example, the border, those kind of thing. We are living in the backlash of a lot of the things and the mistakes that we have made as a party.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to ask you. Are crime and immigration... Are you worried that there will be liabilities for Democrats in the midterms next year?
If you are willing to sink, like if 600 homicides a year are okay, or we don't need help, if I was mayor, I'd be like, absolutely, I'd be grateful for help. Just because if Trump is calling for something X, Y, and Z, then that doesn't mean you have to necessarily oppose that. I think I was the only Democrat that supported striking the Iranian nuclear facilities too. I mean, that was entirely appropriate. I think that was the right thing to do. And I really I believe that too.
You think the party has not learned the lessons from last year? That's fair to say, right?
It hasn't been a year. It hasn't been a year yet right now. And that's what I'd like to remind people. It's like a lot of those things really cost our election now. I don't think there has been an effective evaluation. I don't have an exact answer, but I'm not going to just spit out things and pretend that I know that they're absolutely right.
One of the issues you found yourself on the opposite sides of your party is on the issue of Israel. Are you comfortable with the way that Netanyahu is waging this war in Gaza right now, including these strikes in Qatar?
I absolutely fully support continue to destroy Hamas for that. And now, of course, the situations in Gaza, it is difficult, but for some people, they choose to blame Israel for that. I blame Hamas, I blame Iran, and I blame that. So for me, that's what, and people aren't speaking the truth that Hamas could send the hostages home and disarm, and then that's the first opportunity that we can all move on, and the Palestinians could finally have an opportunity to live in peace, and they could start to rebuild their lives.
Were you okay with the strike that they just had in Doha against the Hamas leadership, Israel? Were you okay with that?
Absolutely, it's appropriate. Unless Hamas is willing to surrender and send people home, that's a war, and it's a just war. There's no ethnic cleansing. It's not a genocide. This is a just war, and I don't know why people blame Hamas for those circumstances right now, that it's not Israel's
They
fault.
say that Israel is using starvation as a weapon. Are they?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Israel is not deliberately starving people. Absolutely. Those conditions are miserable there, and it is hell on earth. Why? Some people blame Israel for that. I blame Hamas and Iran for that thing.